Advanced Insulin Advisor. How to use it. First, we start the application. Then, we introduce the blood glucose value obtained from our glucometer. In case we are going to eat some carbohydrates, we can directly introduce the amount of them. We observe that the insulin bolus advice has been updated. If we are done introducing data, we store this measurement. In case we take another blood glucose measurement afterwards, for example with a value exceeding the ideal range, the application immediately calculates a correction bolus. In addition, this bolus takes into account the remaining active insulin from the previous measurement. Of course, we can always add a carbohydrate intake and, for example, indicate that we are going to perform some exercise. When storing the data, we see blood glucose level above maximum limit alert. On this example, we see that even though we have introduced a blood glucose level above the ideal range, the insulin advice is 0. This is due to the fact that we still have a high active insulin value. Another option to introduce the carbohydrates intake are the quick menus. We can configure up to 3 quick menus corresponding, for example, to the 3 main dishes along the day. That is, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Once configured, each time we want to introduce the carbohydrates corresponding to each of these dishes, we only have to press the corresponding button on the main screen. In this way, it will become much quicker to obtain each advice on a daily basis. At any time, we can review our measurements taken up to this moment. On this screen, we can see data like the measurement time, blood glucose value, special events like the performed exercise, the ingested carbohydrates or the used insulin quantity. At any time, we can individually delete any stored measurement. Provided that it is not being used for the active insulin calculation. We can also delete all the data stored at the same time. If we have enabled a reminder 2 hours after meals option, an alert will appear at the corresponding time, reminding us to take a measurement. We will have the option to discard or repeat it afterwards. One of the most interesting features is the predefined dishes list. It shows a picture of each of them, as well as information about the carbohydrates amount on each of the predefined sizes: small, medium, and big. The list is classified in groups of foods. Therefore, we can filter the dishes to find the desired one. If we choose one of them, a new screen appears, where we can select the desired dish size by pressing on the corresponding calibrated picture. If we long press on it, we make zoom to the picture. we can also select the number of dishes to include on our current menu. Once we add the dish, it will be registered on the current menu. We can repeat the process as many times as we want. If we want, we can also directly search the dish by its name. Pressing on the sliding lateral menu, we access to the menu we have configured. Now, just by pressing back on the phone, the total amount of calculated carbohydrates will be introduced directly on our main screen. The bolus advice is immediately updated. We can also create our own favorites list that we will be able to use it from now on. To do that, we just need to long press on the desired dish, and it will be added to our favorites list. To show only the dishes labeled as favorites, we will press on the indicated icon. Pressing it again, we will see the complete list of dishes. At the time of introducing the blood glucose value, we can choose among several options. We can, for example, ask for an insulin advice without knowing the actual blood glucose value, by pressing the red cross on the keyboard. We can indicate that the measurement has been taken after meal. We can introduce several special events at the same time. We can indicate that the measurement has been taken neither before meal nor after meal, etc. Using all the measurements on this example, we can generate a report to be reviewed with the doctor. To do that, we press the corresponding option. Choose the destination folder and press on Generate Report. At this moment, a web page file will have been generated. We can find it on the chosen location. If we open it with any web browser, we can check its format. It is divided into 3 areas. The first one shows the measurements sorted by time ranges. The second one shows them sorted by date. The third one shows different statistics. We can copy this report to our PC, send it by email, or print it for revision. To configure our application, we have two types of settings available. First, we have the general settings. There we can set the after meal alert, the carbohydrates units, blood glucose units, the alert limits for hypo and hypoglycemia, the reminder's tone, or the vibration, among others. Second, the advisor settings allow setting the diabetes parameters. We have different time intervals available, on which we can set the ideal blood glucose interval, the carbohydrates rate, and the insulin sensitivity. In case we want to create new time intervals, we just need to choose the last available one, and modify the end time by a value different than 12 AM. This is because it is considered the end of the day. If we want to remove existing time intervals, we choose the last desired range and modify the end time by the 12 AM value. All time ranges after this one will be removed. On this menu we can also set the behavior in case of special events. For each event, we can specify the increasing or decreasing bolus advice percentage, in case this event takes place. Some other important parameters are the allowed blood glucose value increase after meals, the snack size, or the insulin action times. We can also review the last fast-acting carbohydrate advice. We will explain it afterwards. If we introduce a blood glucose value below the hypoglycemia limit, at the time of storing the measurement, the hypoglycemia alert will show up. It shows the recommended fast-acting carbohydrates intake. In addition, some useful equivalences, like the number of sugar blocks or packets, are shown. On the last full version, we include the feature to download thousands of dishes and foods from different regions around the world. This feature appears as a new download icon or menu option within the predefined dishes screen.